I'm Cookie, and welcome back to another episode of the Untold Origins, the series where I talk about the backstories of one or multiple minor characters from my series Legends. In today's episode, I'll be talking about Nella. Born in Spring Grove, a small village north of Wolverina, Nella grew up with her parents and younger brother Milka. Though she was 4 years older, two of them were very close and did almost everything together. Life was peaceful for them as not much happened in Spring Grove. The village mostly operated independently, relying on trade and resource gathering to survive. It was also under the protection of a larger kingdom relatively close by called Zantopia. Nella rarely had to worry about anything, so she focused on her family. She loved exploring the surrounding forest, learning about the different plants, collecting feathers, and spying on animals. From a young age, she discovered that she was a fairy with poison magic. As a result, her parents taught her how to control her powers at a much younger age compared to other fairies. Milka, however, was not a fairy, which made him self-conscious. Lucky for him, Nella was there to comfort him. I wish I had magic. What if I'm not good enough for Mom and Dad? Of course you are good enough. You don't need magic to prove anything. Just be your happy self. Thanks, sis. All was well for the family, but peace didn't last forever. One day, Nella and Milka decided to head into the forest alone, where they would spend a few hours there, losing track of time. When they realized how long they'd been gone, they quickly headed back to Spring Grove. However, they saw smoke in the distance, then eventually, fire. Nella told Milka to hide while she tried to help everyone. The whole village was engulfed in flames, but she managed to reach her home where her parents should have been. But she couldn't find them. While looking for them, she burned her hand, so she made a decision to leave and come back after the fire stopped. Once reunited with Milka, Nella took him and found an abandoned den to hide from the fire. Eventually, she left him in the den when she saw no more smoke, then headed towards Spring Grove. She had hoped she would find her parents and other survivors, but that quickly shattered when she returned. The entire village was destroyed and there were no signs of life. When she returned home, Nella found the remains of her parents under a pile of rubble. Still, she walked around the village looking for at least one survivor. That was until she found another body. Though she was horrified, she made the effort to examine it to see if there was someone she knew. That's when Nella noticed the large gash on their neck. She realized that this fire was no accident, and whoever caused it wanted no survivors. With that, she rushed back to Milka, knowing that she had to take him and herself somewhere far away. Nella, where are we going? Somewhere where we'll be safe, where no one will find us. Over the next few years, Nella and Milka traveled the forest, never staying in a location for more than a few weeks. Even though they didn't know who led the attack on Spring Grove, Nella heavily suspected Santopia. The kingdom was supposed to protect their village and failed, so even if they didn't attack it, in Nella's eyes, they were responsible for everyone's deaths. She was distrustful of everyone. Anytime she thought someone was nearby, she would take Milka to a new location. She was forced to mature quickly to protect her brother. So, she attained food through hunting and gathering, stayed up late to watch for danger, and fought off any threats, mainly aggressive enchanted animals. Though Milka did his best to help, he was still too young to contribute anything meaningful. Of course, this changed as he got older. Nella taught him how to take care of himself and would work together to survive. However, Nella was still overprotective of him. Eventually, when Nella and Milka were around 17 and 13 respectively, they had made their way back to an area near Spring Grove's remains. Nella wanted to leave immediately, but Milka wanted to find out if their village was rebuilt. Reluctantly, she agreed to scout the village first to make sure it's safe before he could check it out. So he hid while she went. To her surprise, the debris had been cleared up and new buildings were built. However, they were much larger than even the largest buildings in the old village. In fact, the area had become more like a factory than a village. Nella snuck around, noticing a few people, some working, some talking. While there, she felt uneasy the whole time, and concluded that it was best if she and Milka left. Before she could leave, a guard ambushed her and took her into custody. She tried fighting her way out but was restrained. Still, she struggled against her captors until she heard the voice of her brother. He too had been captured and were taken to the leader. Nella explained that she and Milka didn't want any trouble and that she was simply looking around. She begged for them to be let go, but the leader wasn't having it. He gave them two options, to join their cause or be killed. Though Nella didn't want to work for them, she knew she had to protect her brother and was getting tired of living in the forest. If we join you, do you promise to take care of my brother? Of course. You and your brother will have a place here, so you'll be taken care of well. Despite neither of them wanting to, they agreed to the offer. They were driven out to a different location, about an hour away to an underground base. From there, they were introduced to the actual leader of the entire organization, Malicious, as well as his wife, Vanessa, and sons, Maximus and Damien. Once the situation was explained to him, he welcomed Nella and Milka and told them what would be happening. Nella would be taught how to create machinery, like mecha suits and tanks. Since she was a fairy, she would also receive training to improve her skills. As for Milka, since he was still young, he would simply shadow the rest of the workers until he came of age. Over the next few months, life fell into a routine. Though life was much harder in the forest, the siblings preferred it over their new living conditions. However, Nella was happy that Milka was safe. She also became friends with Maximus and Damien, as the three of them were trained together with their magic. Although she grew much closer with Maximus. Besides Milka, Nella never really had someone to call a friend, and though she still distrusted the organization, she was glad that she had Maximus. One day, he asked about her hand, to which she explained that it got burned during the fire that destroyed Spring Grove. In response, he asked about the village. Where was Spring Grove anyway? You know those factories that built all those weapons? That's where it was. I see. I wonder if my father knew that place used to be a village. With that remark, Nella asked Maximus if she could ask his father about it. She was desperate to know if anyone knew who attacked the village. It took some convincing, but Maximus was able to get his father to talk with Nella. There, she questioned him about if Suntopia had any involvement. To which Malicious asked her why the kingdom would attack a village it swore to protect, and how it would have benefited. When she couldn't respond, he explained how it was Wolverina that led the attack. Since it's the most powerful kingdom in the Shimmering Lands, they believe they can throw their weight around and destroy anything that could be a threat to them. He also explained his true intentions, to overthrow the current royal bloodline and prevent the kingdom from harming anyone else. Malicious even explained how Suntopia was allied with him. Despite not having any evidence, his reasoning made sense to Nella, so she believed him. He promised her that if she helped him, she would get the opportunity to avenge her family and village, and her brother will be safe forever. So she remained loyal to him. Over the next few years, Nella changed, having given in to her anger and desire for revenge. She also started dating Maximus, who didn't exactly have the best influence on her. Additionally, Milka started working on creating weapons, though he was never enthralled by the organization's cause as his sister was. Eventually, she noticed how he was avoiding her and realized that he was afraid of her. It was also around this time that Maximus and Damien were arguing with their father, where she overheard him say some pretty awful things to them. Nella had a wake-up call that something wasn't right, and she knew she had to find the truth of what's going on and what truly happened in Spring Grove, if nothing else but to protect Milka. And that's all I have for this video. There's a little more to Nella's backstory, but I can't discuss it since it's spoilers to the main plot. Anyway, make sure to comment below what you thought of her backstory. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye!